Welcome to my latest podcast series, One Life. My name's Terence Wallace, and I'm the writer and publisher of a weekly essay entitled Indelible Adventures, and I'm your host. This podcast series sets out to prompt and challenge your thinking about life and what it means to really live your life. I'll share with you my insights and personal experiences with the sole objective of getting you to reflect and think about your approach to living your best life. So let's get started. This week's episode is entitled Finding Balance. What does balance mean to you? For me personally, it's about finding a happy medium to all things. As we all know, having too much of anything, or even too little, can be detrimental, no matter what it is. I think Oscar Wilde said it best when he said, "Everything in moderation, including moderation." Taken literally, and this can be applied to almost everything in our lives, but balance can be elusive for many of us. The two main and competing factors in our lives when trying to find balance are mindset and time. I've personally found that by staying open to the infinite possibilities of life, this allows me to balance my thinking and not to be driven into becoming a slave to any single outcome. Therefore, keeping a flexible mindset is crucial. If we take the simple example of, I must be thin, therefore I must diet or not eat. However, with an open mindset, this may sound quite different and something more like, I need to balance my dietary intake with nutritious and healthy foods while supplementing this with an exercise program. In this scenario, shouldn't our overall health be the objective? Unfortunately, in a world driven by social media, there seems to be more and more pressure placed upon us to be perfect in every way. The concept of being the best we can be all the time can often lead us into closed thinking and worse, into behaviors and habits that are unhealthy. Ultimately, we control our lives, but sometimes we can be blinded by ambition and single-minded thinking. When I worked in the corporate world, it was tricky to find balance. Often this is referred to as work-life balance. Given that I was too heavily focused on rising up the corporate ladder and becoming a partner, I had much less control over the work portion of this equation. Thus, bad behaviors and an unhealthy lifestyle ensued. This can be especially true of some types of work where you're expected to be always on and available, and as we know, this can lead to some negative side effects, with burnout being the unfortunate outcome. In my personal example, I worked constantly away from home. This, coupled with a series of demanding clients and an uncompromising employer, made for a very unpleasant existence. This often saw my nights and often weekends eaten up with conference calls and followed up with a stream of work-related emails that came in day and night, with the expectation of my immediate response. I had no one to blame but myself. My mistake is that I was blinded by my career opportunities and that I didn't identify clear boundaries up front. If you have an employer who, even after being clear with your personal boundaries, still impinges upon your personal time, then perhaps it's time to reevaluate your tenure. Clearly, there are many parts to this scenario, but I believe finding your personal balance is important to living your best life. I was personally fortunate in that several events conspired to give me perspective and rethink my approach to living life. On some level, we all know that our time is finite. The concept of time provides us with a sense of perspective in terms of where we want to spend our time and also how much time we should devote to specific activities. If there's one thing that the COVID pandemic has taught us, it's to take a long, hard look at where and how we live our lives. With the realization that life is short and somewhat unpredictable, surprisingly this hasn't changed but our mindsets have, that we need to seek a lifestyle that we want to live, both in terms of where we live but also how we live. As an example, I've spoken to many people that have decided to no longer live in a crappy climate because that's where your job is. More and more of us have made the decision to live our life on our terms, often with the remote working option to support us. It's time to invest your time wisely, spending time with your kids and loved ones, and pursuing things that make you passionate, irrespective of what they are. A natural progression to living life on your terms means that you also need to evaluate the things, both good and bad, that impact your ability to live it on your terms. Keeping a flexible and balanced approach will ultimately lead you to your desired outcome, but it may be a little bumpy if you must make some difficult decisions along the way. As our lives continue to grow and evolve, so does our thinking and mindset. What's important today may not be tomorrow, but that's okay. Remember, nothing is forever, and that's okay to change your mind. There are no do-overs, just the single life that we all have before us. After all, it is your life, right? If you'd like to learn more about Indelible Adventures and the products and services we provide, please take a moment to visit the website at www.indelibleadventures.com. Indelible Adventures is one word. Thanks for listening and look forward to hosting you again real soon. All the best.